So we're going to start with chapter 1.1, combining like terms. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to do all of the odd problems, and then afterwards you're going to do the even problems at home, and then tomorrow in class we will check those answers. Okay, so combining like terms, really all you are doing is you are taking the stuff that looks the same and you are going to be adding them up. So on number 1 we have 3x's, a positive 3x's, and then we also have a positive 6x's. Okay, so since they're both x's, we're going to add them up. A positive 3 and a positive 6 add up to give me 9x's. Also, sometimes I start talking pretty fast, and if you need to, just pause the video, rewind it as many times as you need to. Okay, so on number 3, I see two different things going on. I see this number right here that has a W behind it, and then I see these two numbers here that have nothing behind them. So those are two different terms. Okay, so we go in alphabetical order. Letters come first, then the regular numbers. So I'm going to start with this. That's negative 6 W's. All right, I don't see any other W's, so that negative 6W will just drop down. Okay, now I focus on my regular numbers. I see this, which is a positive 9, and then I see this value right here, which is a positive 5. So my regular numbers, I add up. A 9 plus 5, it gives me a positive 14, so I'm going to put a plus 14. All right, so when I'm looking at 5, I see two different things going on. I see some x's, and then I also see some y's. So we like to go in alphabetical order, so I'm going to start with my x's. I have 5 x's here. This is a negative 1x, and you can put a little 1 right here if you need to. And then I have a positive 3x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add those numbers together. So 5 plus negative 1 plus 3. So 5 plus a negative 1 plus 3 would give me 7, and that's 7 x's. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my y's. I have a positive 7y and a positive 2y. So since they're both y's, I add them up. 7 plus 2 is 9. A positive 9, so plus 9, and those were y's. All right, moving on. Okay, so on 7, I'm going to look what's going on. This number behind it has an a squared b, and so does this number. So I know since those are exactly the same, I can combine those. So I have a negative 4 a squared b and a positive 10 a squared b. So I'm going to add those up. Negative 4 plus 10 is a positive 6. So I have 6 a squared b's. Okay, I can't forget that I have this plus 7 right here. That's just a regular plain old Jane number. I don't see any other number, so that plus 7 has to drop down. Okay. So remember, pause and rewind as much as you need to. Let's look at number 9. Okay. So I see a squareds, I see AB's, and I see B squareds. So I have three different things that are going on here. Okay, I'm going to start with A squared. I see one A squared right here. So then I'm going to look, are there any other A squareds? Since they're not, that A squared drops down. Like I said, we go in alphabetical order, so now I'm going to be looking at my AB's. I have a positive 7 AB's there. And then here I have negative 10 AB. So what I need to do is add those two numbers up. 7 plus negative 10 is a negative 3. So I'm going to put minus 3, and those were AB's. Last but not least, I see this plus B squared here. There's no other B squared, so that B squared is going to fall down. So plus B squared. Okay, on 11, it's set up differently. What it does is it gives us a triangle, and it's asking for the perimeter. Well, we know that perimeter means to add all sides. Okay, so just it's set up differently, but we're going to be doing the exact same thing that we were doing. We're going to be adding all these sides together. So same thing, take what looks alike and then add them up. So alphabetical order, I'm going to start with A's. So right here I see a negative 1A. On this side I see 5A. And then on this third side I don't see any A's. So I'm just going to worry about these two right here. So let's add them up. Negative 1 plus 5 is a positive 4. So I have a positive 4A. Okay, then we have AB's. So now I'm going to look around and find any other AB's. So I look on this side, I don't see any. And I look on this side, I don't see any. So these are the only AB's we have. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that over here. And it's a positive, so I'm going to put plus 4A. Finally, we just have our regular numbers left. Right here I have a positive 17, and down at the bottom I have a negative 1. There are no regular numbers here, so I'm going to add these two numbers up. 7 plus negative 1 is a positive 16, so I put plus 16. And that is my perimeter. All right, moving on to 13. Same type of situation, but this time we have one more side to worry about. Let me see if I can move this. Sorry. All right, so as I look around, I know it's perimeter, so I'm going to be adding these up. So I'm going to take what look alike and add them together. So I see k squareds, I see k's, and I see regular numbers. So I'm going to start with my k squareds. So I see 1 k squared here. Okay, and then I'm going to find all my other ones. Here's another k squared. At the bottom we have 2 k squareds, and on this side we have 1 k squared. So let's add those up. That's 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which would give us a total of 5. So I'm going to have 5k squared. All right, next we look at our k's. I have a negative 9k here. On this side I have a positive 1k. There's no k's on the bottom. And on this side I have another positive 1k. So I need to add all these k's together. A negative 9 plus 1 plus 1 gives me a negative 7, and those were k's. All right, last but not least, we have regular numbers. At the top, I have a positive 23. No regular numbers on this side. At the bottom, we have a negative 17. And then no regulars. So I'm going to be adding these two numbers up. So I'm going to take 23, and I'm going to add a negative 17, which is going to give me a positive 6. So I put plus 6. All right, last problem on this together. Okay, this one looks a little bit different again. We don't have a picture this time. It's just giving us the words. Same idea though. Okay, it says find the perimeter, which means add all your sides of a rectangle that has a length of x plus 2 and a width of x minus 5. So since I don't have the picture, I want to draw the picture and label it. So here's my rectangle. It tells me I have a length of x plus 2, so I put that here, and a width of x minus 5. Okay, some people might say just add these two up and we're done, but no, perimeter is add all of the sides, so I would have to add up all 4 of these. Okay, doesn't give me these two, but I know opposites on a rectangle are the same, so if this is x plus 2, so is this. This side is x minus 5, so is this side. Now that I have all of my sides labeled, I need to add them up. So take what look alike, add them together, and we will be done. Okay, so we start with letters first. So I see x's. I see 1x here, and you can put that 1 out front if you need to. I see 1x here, 1x on the bottom, and 1x on the right. So now that I found all of my x's, all I do is add them up. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. So we have 4 x's. All right, we still have our regular numbers. So I have a positive 2, another positive 2, a negative 5, and another negative 5. So we add those up. Negative 5 plus a negative 5 plus 2 would give us a negative 6. So since it's negative, I'm going to put minus 6. Okay, don't forget, you need to go back and finish the evens on this paper. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue into your 1.2 notes. I'm not going to do all of the 1.2 notes, but you don't have to finish those. We're just going to do those in class tomorrow. Okay, so what your homework is to take these notes and then finish the evens on 1.1. You do not have to finish 1.2. So I'm not going to do all these, just a few of them. All right, so what we're doing on 1.2 is pretty much the same thing, combining our like terms, but we're going to add one extra step called distributing. Okay, so some of you might remember this, some of it might be a little fuzzy, but that's okay. Okay, so let's look at number 1. On number 1, before I want to combine my like terms, I see a set of parentheses with the number out front. Remember, parentheses means to multiply. Okay, but there's 2 things inside this parentheses, which means I need to take this number out front, negative 3, and multiply it by both of the things in the parentheses first. Okay, I like to draw these little loopies. So I'm going to take negative 3 and I'm going to multiply it by x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take negative 3 and I'm going to multiply it by this positive 4. Negative 3 times a positive 4 is a negative 12. Now watch out, we can't forget about this plus 5 right here, so it's going to drop down. Okay, so we distributed. From here to here we distributed. Okay, so now that we've distributed, we have to combine our like terms and we'll be done. Okay, so I see x's. Letters come first, right? I don't see any other x's, which means these will drop down. I also see regular numbers. I see a negative 12 and a positive 5. So since they are both regular numbers, I add them up. Negative 12 plus 5 is negative 7, so I put minus 7. Let's see. Let's do... We're going to do number 4. And then we can call it quits. Okay, so on this one, I see 2 different sets of parentheses with the number out front. So this set of parentheses has a negative 5 out front, so I need to multiply by negative 5. In front of this one, I see a negative 6, so I need to multiply everything in this set of parentheses by negative 6. We'll do one at a time. Negative 5 times 2y is negative 10y. Next, I'm going to take that negative 5 and I'm going to multiply it by 4. Negative 5 times 4 is a negative 20.
Are you going to...
Then I'm going to take a negative 6 and multiply it by 3y. So negative 6 times 3y is negative 18y. And then finally, negative 6 times a negative 8. Remember, a negative times a negative is a positive. So negative 6 times negative 8 is a positive 48. All right, done distributing. So now we have to combine our like terms. All right, if you see letters, they always come first, right? So I see y's, so I'm going to start with my y's. I have a negative 10y here and a negative 18y here, which means I need to add those up. So negative 10 plus negative 18 is a negative 28y. Then we have our regular numbers. I have a negative 20 and a positive 48. So I'm going to add those up. Negative 20 plus 48 is a positive 28. All right, we distributed, we combined, boom, we're done. All right, so make sure you finish the evens on your 1.1 and be ready in class tomorrow. All right, see y'all tomorrow. Bye.